Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet two of the driving forces behind the Dallas County DWI Task Force. They're coming up on their busiest season. We'll have a preview next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, DWI is just a horrible thing. It shatters lives, and we hear about it on the news all the time, but you don't often get to see a face behind the DWI accident. It's often just a crime scene tape on the news, and those faces are absolutely devastating once you get to meet them. Two of the people who are behind the DWI task force for Dallas County are in the studio right now, Dr. Elba Garcia and Emma Dugas. Dugas, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff, for the invitation.
Absolutely. And I was unaware, because Dr. Garcia, I used to interview you way back in the day when I was at Channel 4, that the DWI task force really goes back a long time.
Yes, we are celebrating our 40-year anniversary, Jeff. It was started in 1984 by former County Commissioner, the Honorable Chris Simos. And since then, every single person elected into the District 4 position have continued that program that, in my opinion, is important for all of us as a society. Driving while intoxicated is something very common. Most people don't know. But in the United States of America, 39 people die every day. Here in Texas, it's 20 people every day. Just in 2022, we have 66 people die as a result of a driving while intoxicated accident, and more than 850 got injured as a result of one of these crashes. So it is important that we take conscious that it's a preventable crime, and it's on ourselves to be sure that if we're going to drive, don't drink.
Yes. And Emma, if we go back into like the 50s and 60s in Texas, the attitudes about drinking and driving are not what they are today, thanks to Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the task force. Has the stigma surrounding drinking and driving permeated the society? I mean, do people really understand that you were just one click away from an Uber or a Lyft, and shame on you if you're too drunk to drive?
I mean, unfortunately, it just there's still a lot of room to grow and to educate the community. I mean, unfortunately, it's just so normalized. It's just so normal of having alcohol, everywhere. And you would think that with all the options that we have, that this would not be a problem, but unfortunately, it is. It's still a problem, and that's why we do what we do, where we want to create that world with no more victims.
Yes. We found a great clip that CBS 11 did about a year ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
The holiday is right around the corner. A reminder this morning that officers are on the road seeking out and cracking down on drunk drivers. The Dallas County DWI Task Force is sending a message to North Texas drivers that it is never okay to drink and drive. The Dallas County District Attorney says that they've expanded their vehicle crimes unit, a team that brings justice to those that are driving while intoxicated. And by the way, a victim of a DWI accident talked about how that one accident changed his life forever.
That particular person was 3 times the legal limit for alcohol. They came into my lane, they hit me head on, knocked me backwards and upside down, and I don't have time to go into all the injuries. But let's just say my career is ended. my ability to support my family has ended.
Yeah, obviously tragic accidents that cause a lifelong impact. The organization 24 Hours Dallas has now teamed up with Lyft to offer $10 off any ride beginning November 22nd through New Year's Day. So right during that holiday season, those codes can be found at participating restaurants and bars. So if you need a ride, please ask the bartender to help you. It's all in an effort to get everyone safely home this holiday season.
And obviously that was a year ago. Are you guys working with Lyft again?
Yes, we are. We are very happy to have a lot of partners on the DWI task force, and we are going to do it during the holiday season and Thanksgiving season as well.
Absolutely. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, obviously probably the most famous group that really put this on the front pages of every paper in the country. Your CEO does a lot of interviews. I found a great one on the national news. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Well, it is preventable, and it is a tragedy no family should ever face, losing a loved one at the hands of a drunk driver. That is where Mothers Against Drunk Driving has come in for years. This organization has been there for victims and families now for 40 years, helping them turn tragedy into purpose and also working on that key thing, prevention. Joining me now, Mothers Against Drunk Driving CEO Stacey Stewart. Thank you for your time and for being with us on this milestone. How are you marking with your team 40 years since this work began and continues?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And we are at an important point in our history at MADD. When we started over 40 years ago, drunk driving deaths were at an all-time high. And over the history of MADD being in existence, we've cut those drunk driving fatalities by 50%. But what is really concerning is that over the past few years, we've seen over a 30% increase in drunk driving fatalities. Every 79 seconds, someone dies or is injured due to a drunk driving crash. And so today at MADD, what we're doing is doubling down on our efforts to make sure that we can create a world in which we have no more victims, in which we have no more people that are affected, either killed or injured by drunk driving crashes, impaired driving crashes.
So as part of that continued fight, Stacey, there's legislation aimed at making our roads safer, and it starts with the HALT Act. Can you tell us more about that and where things stand?
Yes, one of the things that we're really excited about is in late 2021 with the infrastructure bill that was signed into law, the HALT Act, as you mentioned, was passed. This is an act that was named in honor of a family that died in a very tragic drunk driving crash in Kentucky, a family of 5 that was all of whom were killed by a drunk driver going in the wrong direction, driving multiple times over the legal alcohol limit. And because of that crash and because of so many other crashes, we were able to get legislation that now requires a new safety standard in all vehicles, new advanced impaired driving prevention technology that would allow for anybody who is impaired and tries to get behind a wheel of a vehicle, they would not be able to operate that vehicle. And we are now in the rulemaking process. We hope to have that safety standard implemented by 2026.
And how optimistic are you that that gets put into place, and how big of a difference do you anticipate it makes?
Well, of course, 2021 was a milestone success for MADD and all of our victims and survivors that helped us to get that bill passed. But, you know, there are always obstacles. There are always concerns that people have about what the technology will do or what it won't do. We're here to tell everybody this is about protecting the public. It is about making sure that everybody on our roads is safe. And we are now in a public process where everyone gets to weigh in on what they would like to see in this new safety standard. You know, it took backup cameras and other technology that we take for granted today years to get implemented. So we don't take it lightly that this will still be a work in progress. It still is a lot of work that we have to put in to make sure that it gets implemented. But we're very, very optimistic that once this technology is implemented, it will save thousands of lives. In fact, it's estimated that it can save over 10,000 lives per year, which would bring us as close to zero of victims due to impaired driving crashes as we've ever been in the history of automobiles and operating automobiles on our roads.
Yeah, a shared goal we should all get behind. Finally, what is one thing that someone could say to another to prevent them from getting behind the wheel, drugged or drunk?
So first of all, it's against the law. We're not saying that you shouldn't be able to go out and enjoy yourself, be at a bar or a restaurant. But if you decide to drink, please do not drive. Make a plan in advance. For some people, rideshare is an alternative. For others, just having a designated driver. But whatever you do, it is simply illegal, and it is unsafe to get behind the wheel and drive. You're risking yourself, and you're risking the lives of many others. And it simply is just, we ask that everyone not do it, and to use your best judgment to avoid the crashes that could end your life or someone else's.
It is a preventable tragedy, and I know you all share many personal stories on your website, evidence that even a little bit too much can take a life. Stacey Stewart, for the work you and your team are doing, thank you. I wish you continued success in a shared mission that we all should have.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. Well, Emma, we should get an update because that was, I think, your 40th anniversary was 4 years ago. What's the status of that?
So they're still working on those on getting that finalized, and right now NHTSA's in the process of trying to look into what company is going to implement that technology for all new cars. And like Stacey said, it's going to, on average, save over 10,000 lives once fully implemented. And I think with this new technology, it's just another tool that we can use as a society to make and help us make those good decisions to drive home safe. Because unfortunately, we just can't do it alone. And that's why I'm so grateful to be part of this task force to partner with all of these wonderful partners like 24 Hour Dallas, like AAA Texas, and the Methodist Hospital that have a very active partner in this campaign. And so we're able to educate the community, and so people can know that there are options out there and to plan ahead.
Yes. And Dr. Garcia, I think people would be surprised how much it takes to drink or how little it takes to be over the legal limit. I think Justin Timberlake famously was busted drinking and driving. It can be 2 or 3 beers, can't it?
That's correct. Different people have different tolerance. 0.8 is what is allowed, but why take a risk, right, Jeff? Why take a risk if you are really playing with your life and the life of someone else? We see every year during our press conference, people that come and tell us their stories. And it's so sad to see how a bad decision in 1 second changed your life and the life of a family or someone else, that you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And that's what I'm so thankful that all the organizations like MADD and, of course, all the law enforcement agencies that work with the DWI task force that are there to educate us, to create conscience, and more importantly, to be sure that we have alternatives. If you're going to drink, plan ahead, log into our website, get one of those codes to have a share ride with Lyft to go back home safely. You can have fun and at the same time be safe, and more importantly, be sure that everybody else is safe as well.
Yes, we were on your Facebook, and we've got some pictures from last year's event. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. There you are being interviewed by the local media. And so this is your big annual push. Again, it's November 12th.
November 12th, 10 a.m. at Clay Warren Park. We hope you can join us. It's an open event. And, of course, we're also going to have that What Alcohol Says campaign. Yes. That, as you can see, is a crash card that we take all over different areas of Dallas County. If you see us, honk, the hashtag What Alcohol Says. We know alcohol is a bad advisor, right? And you can see it in English and Spanish. I drive better when I'm drunk. One is none. I just live a few blocks away. The reality is there's always going to be an excuse, but we want to remind you, don't get trapped in those excuses.
Yes. Well,
plan ahead, be aware of the consequences, and it can ruin your life.
Yeah. That's a great way to end this show. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom with us. And we're going to give you a couple of ways to contact them. Let's start with the Facebook page for the Dallas County DWI Task Force. There we go. And then we will end with the MADD website, madd.org/North Texas. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's
Thank
great
you.
to see you.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.